Let's talk about the current mood, really, with Blackburn Rovers fans because, yeah, last year was a bit of a roller coaster. This year, you've got a manager in place. Hopefully, he stays in charge. But yeah, what is the current mood? What are fans wanting this season?
Yeah, I think there's a realistic um, expectation that ultimately Rovers can't be like expecting top six. I think they would like to be challenging and around it because they did last year. But I don't think there would be any support going into the new season that says we have to finish in the playoffs because I think that's unrealistic when you think that it was a massive overachievement to get as close as they did. If you look at the revenue that the club generates and the money that they've spent and the money they spend on salaries, it's a bottom half budget in the championship. So to be expecting top six is unrealistic. That said, in 3 of the last 4 years, they've been competing at that end. It was only the 23-24 season where they nearly got relegated, where things really fell off a cliff. And when you consider the strength of the division, you've got the 3 relegated clubs coming down, Leicester in a little bit of turmoil, but Ipswich are going to be really strong and right up there. Southampton look like they've got the house in order relatively quickly. Sheffield United will be right up there as well. Then you've got Birmingham and Wrexham coming up from League One who are spending big money, particularly Birmingham, with the ambition of getting straight out of this division, as Ipswich did, obviously, a couple of years ago, doing back-to-back promotion. So it's going to be a lot tougher. You've then got Coventry and Middlesbrough as well, who obviously will be big spending and have got good budgets. So to compete with those levels is going to be difficult again. And we'll see what sort of ambition they show in the market in the next 7 weeks as to whether they can bridge that gap. But I think there's a general expectation that if Rovers finished in the top half, that would be a good season. It's not very exciting. It's not very sexy. I think if I surveyed fans and said Rovers are going to finish 12th, they'd probably be a bit annoyed because it's a bit boring. But realistically, a top 10 finish would be a good season for Blackburn Rovers.
Okay, then we shall wait and see. Let's talk about the games against each other. They're always interesting. Last year, obviously, last time we played, it was Town did a double. Obviously, the good game at Portland Road, and obviously the game at Ewood Park on Good Friday. But this time around, it's the first game will be at Ewood Park in September, the 6th game of the season, just after the international break, and also the transfer window's been closed, so we're sort of both teams will have their players ready for that period, and then the second game is in mid-Jan, so the transfer window's open. Players are getting sold or bought. How are you feeling for those 2 games?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think it'll be a good test. Definitely. Obviously, Sam Smodic will be coming back to Ewood Park for the first time. I'm sure he'll get a really good reception, despite the interview he did recently where he said he'd refused to play for Rovers. I think it would be a very small minority that would take any umbrage with that, to be honest, and probably a social media reaction rather than anything that would happen in the ground. I think he'll get a great reception. Ultimately, he stopped Blackburn getting relegated that season, and they would have gone down without him. Nobody begrudged him his move to the Premier League, and I'm sure he'll be welcomed back with open arms, to be quite honest with you. So it'll be an interesting test. Yeah, 6 games in. Rovers will have had a good couple of games. They played Birmingham's first home game of the season, so their second game because they're away at West Brom on opening day. So they've had a decent-ish test of teams that are going to be wanting to compete. West Brom will be chasing the playoffs. Birmingham, don't know what their level will be, but they've got ambitions to finish in the top 2. And then Hull and Norwich a little bit, and Watford after that, which will be a little bit more of a, not quite a sterner test, although Norwich are recruiting quite well as well. And then Ipswich coming up. So yeah, it should be an interesting game. The 2 games that you mentioned before were pretty close. 4-3 at Portman Road, which was a real topsy-turvy game. Rovers 3-1 down at half-time, pulled it back and then still managed to lose. And then the 1-0 defeat on Good Friday was quite a tight game as well, and one that Blackburn probably deserved a point from, had a goal disallowed a little bit controversially through Rankin Costello. So we'll see when we ultimately, but there's a lot of time to go to know what condition both teams will be in going into that game. But it should be interesting nonetheless.